when I do comedy, I feel God's pleasure in it. Like I realize it's partly the reason God made me was to be in situations like this and in dark places where the light can shine the brightest in these comedy clubs and other places.
Welcome to the Everyday Faith Podcast, where we believe you can live out your faith every day by starting with belief, embracing your mission, committing to obedience, and pursuing community. I'm Dan.
And I'm Jess. Today, we are welcoming Jonathan Weibel back to the podcast. He first joined us on the show in the beginning of 2025, and we had the best time. Dan, you missed out.
I did.
I promise you'll want to go back and listen to those episodes if you haven't yet. But to jog your memory, Jonathan is the author of Front Yard Mission, which I'm sure we will talk about some more today. He's a husband, father, pastor, church planter, musician, comedian. We know you'll enjoy this conversation as much as us, so let's get into it. Jonathan, welcome back. We're so glad you're joining us again.
Hey, good to see you both, and even you, Dan.
It's nice to be here together. Jonathan, I'm so curious to hear how things have been going since the last time you joined us. I follow Jonathan on social media, so anybody else out there who's listening, Jonathan and Front Yard Mission would both be great follows. What prompted me to reach out to Jonathan again to have you back on, let's see, I had seen something about a conversation that you'd had with somebody maybe after a show, where they were asking about, are you really a pastor? Because you're a comedian.
Can you do that?
Is that even allowed?
Is that legal?
Tell us about that conversation.
Yeah, so I was doing a club here in town, which I don't really do a lot, doing a lot more now, but till then, I had not really done a whole lot in hometown here in State College, PA. And I was featuring for a guy who just came out with a Amazon Prime special. So I was doing 20 minutes. And afterwards, this Penn State student asked me, "Are you really a pastor? Is that just part of your bit?"
Yeah.
I'm really a pastor. And I said, "Why?" And she said, "Because I think God is pursuing me and I don't have anyone to talk to about it."
Wow.
That kind of thing seems to be happening to some degree more and more, and specifically clubs. I do churches, bars, clubs, the whole gamut,
Oh, that's fun. So do you have that conversation, often with people where they say, wait a second, are you actually a pastor, or is that just funny?
Well, they seem incongruent, being a pastor,
Sure.
telling jokes, being a stand-up comedian, and they really aren't. And I consider doing stand-up as it's one of the most sacred things I do all week. It's divorced from my faith at all. Actually, it's a great place. God puts me in places where I can be salt and light and change the atmosphere of a room, and it's been happening. So,
it's interesting. I think about how God uses the hard things that we go through in life to, sit with other people when they're going through similar hard things. But what if he also gives us the fun, enjoyable things too, so that we can invite other people into that laughter and, just the funny things about life as well. I don't know.
This is where Jess and I differ. She's like, well, what if? It's like, yes, God created us to enjoy his creation, this life. Like, why are we all so stuck up? Let's enjoy life a little bit.
And
have fun.
Invite others to share it with us.
You need the suffering and the joy, Dan, you need both. God puts us in that, both of us.
Good point.
So, Jess, you're more the suffering servant.
I prefer the
more
valleys,
fun. Yep. Yeah, I like mountaintops.
I just like sadness. No, so you've been able to have some interesting conversations as a result of the comedy that you've done. Are there any other moments that have jumped out at you, conversations that you recall that came up because you are a comedian or you had that time on the stage?
Yeah. So I don't shy away from talking about the things that are most important to me, which are my faith, my walk with Jesus. I'm not a Christian comedian, and but like I talk about what's important, and even at the end, like I tell the story about. I think you guys talked about here about telling the story about hugging that stranger and then telling him I love you and I miss you, man, just as a social experiment.
Yes.
Close with that story in my show, and then he said, "Wait a second." He grabs his wife, and his wife looks at me, and he says, "Honey, I think this is Jonathan." And she'd been something like 25 years been looking for me because I'd come to her town at one point in a past life. I was a musician and led a band.
Yeah.
And she had a transformational experience, and now leads her own like Christian indie band. It was all because of that night, and she'd been looking for me. I kind of end with that story and like talk about what heaven's like, where all the dots are connected in our life.
Yeah.
Where all the people that had influence on us and got us to this point. What if all the dots were connected and we got to thank them and do what that girl did with me, which she hugged me and said, "I love you, I love you, I love you. Thank you, thank you." You know, like what if
So fun.
I don't know if it's going to be like that, but what if it's like that? It's kind of how I end my show where
Yeah.
I'm in a church or
so
in a
cool.
bar. You know, I just did the show Friday night club, and that's how I ended the show. And so just all kinds of fun. So I don't like shy away from that. And then
Yeah.
a lot of fun conversations on the other side of that after the shows with people. And even a few months ago, I was doing a show, and a comedian who's probably the most famous comedian in our area. I know that's not saying much. We're Central PA, not exactly a hub for fantastic stand-ups, but he's pretty famous. And like a year ago, I was like, oh, man, you know, I wish I could get in his universe, you know, like that'd be cool to like get to meet him and
Yeah.
him. And he was at one of the shows, and I did like 20 minutes featuring again. And he comes up to me afterwards and said, "Hey, I'm a Christian too." I was like, wow. And then he said, "I want to learn how to work clean." He said, "Can I start booking you on shows so that I can learn to work clean?" And so he's been opening for me, which is like crazy town, you know, like
That's cool.
no way.
Wow.
And we just did a show this last weekend, and we're doing a show coming up, you know, a few with him now. And
Yeah.
it's so great. It's so great to like God's favor has been on it. And I just try to be salt and light every time I step up to the microphones and my name is called. I just say, "God, help me be salt and light. Help me change the atmosphere."
Yeah. It's cool how this lines up with the 4 pillars of living out
Yes.
your everyday faith, because start with belief, right? You believe that it's not about you, that it's you're going on stage and you're being who God created you to be. Yeah.
Which is
And you're-
embracing your mission.
Yeah, you're elevating him, and yeah, that's part of how he's using you on mission
Right.
in those day-to-day contexts, which for you is with a circle of comedians, with an audience that is just there for a good time.
Get my like crew now, these comedians. Like I'm definitely the odd man out in a lot of ways, but like it's been really good. Like even one of the guys that's filthy. Like somebody wanted a clean comedian, and he's like, "Can I recommend you for this job?" I'm like, "Absolutely."
Hey.
So just stuff like that has been really good. And
Yeah. Well, and when I think about commit to obedience, I mean, it's probably very easy to come up with trashy content, and in some ways, probably kind of hard to come up with clean content, right? So committing to obedience, saying, "Yes, Lord, I'm gonna keep it clean."
And for me, like I'm a storyteller. I'm a jokey joke guy, you know, like I've got some, but that's not what I do. I tell stories
Yeah.
of life and all that. And they just happen to be kind of funny, like,
Yeah.
So I want to get from your perspective, like, what is the importance of joy, laughter? Like, like from your professional, personal experience, what do you see as like, man, this is what I wish people knew about joy and laughter?
yeah, well, I think of a couple things, Dan. I think one is that laughter is good medicine for the heart. Scripture tells us that, and Scripture is always right. So it's good for us to laugh, and laughter breaks down a lot of barriers for people. Like the world has a view of Christians that's like way out here on the spectrum. Like it's
Yep.
That we're judgmental, that we've been baptized in pickle juice, and like we're type. We hate certain groups of people.
Yep.
That's just not been my experience being in the church. But when we laugh and we can make people laugh and have a good time, it breaks down so many barriers in people's life. They can see, oh, this guy's a real person. He's not some piece of marble,
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that, and, the runner, Eric Lytle, whatever his name was, the Chariots of Fire. He says, when I run, I feel God's pleasure. When I do comedy, I feel God's pleasure in it. Like I realize it's partly the reason God made me was to be in situations like this and in dark places where the light can shine the brightest in these comedy clubs and other places. To do comedy and the joy of the Lord is my strength. And so
that's great.
That's awesome.
There's a little bit of like, there's a trap. It's got some trap doors, I would say, doing comedy. Like there's a lot of like oxytocin hits you when you can make people laugh and they think you're awesome. And so there's like this little thing of that. And my wife, like, stay humble. God is
Your wife says that too?
The smallest amount of fame or adoration could ruin us because we were never made for that. We were made to worship and worship God. So when our adoration is misguided on something other than God, that's bad. And also when other people's adoration is misguided to us, that's also bad. It's bad for the worshiper and the worshipee. And so that's like, I would say that's the trap of doing, not that no one knows I am, let's face it, like it's a really great experience. So,
well, you make a good point because just like finding our identity in, being a mom for me or being a business leader, right? It's like
what Dan does.
Whatever he does. I don't know.
Like, I don't even know what he does.
Whatever the heck you do. It's like we can't find our identity in being the person that everyone thinks is funny or the person that everyone thinks is wise. Like, even though those are good things, those are great things, but that's not where we need to be finding our identity. It's still, and that's not, it's giving God the credit for whatever people do admire us for. It's like, no, it's not me. It's God in me.
Absolutely. I was going to say, like your last two episodes, you had Trisha Baumhart, formerly Trisha Brock, the lead singer of Super. I don't know if you remember, but they were on top of the world for a few years.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, she's been nominated for Grammys.
Yeah.
And she's the most humble person, like that. One of the most humble people I know. I would say the most humble.
She's amazing.
I love her. And she's been so great for us, her and her husband and her family, for Susie and I. And she's like, she's, I don't know, 50 to 60 of their songs have been in movies and television shows.
So cool.
Crazy.
Well, I think about, sometimes there's themes. So, maybe God is using you, Jonathan, to bring joy and light into people's lives, but there's probably more you would say about that. But, so it's not that you are a comedian or you are an author. It's like, no, I'm just bringing God's light. That's just how he's using me. He's just using me to bring laughter to people. Maybe like for me, I used to be kind of in the counseling realm. And so, it's like, I'm just that compassionate person holding space for other people.
Tell me more about that.
Aren't you?
But what are you feeling about what you're thinking of how
Stop
you're
it.
okay?
If you're not watching this, like Jess is lying down on the couch right now. And
Yep.
You got this.
Actually.
Again, tell us about your childhood.
So anyway, goodness.
Well, it's a balance, right? So the devil's playground is the extremes. He loves when you're like, I'm only a comedian. But then other people go the opposite and like, oh, I'm nothing.
Yeah,
And it's like, whoa. God, you are God's creation who does comedy work, who is a husband, who is, all these great things. It's a balancing act.
Mm-hmm.
It's not one or the other. It's, I'm God's creation, his child. Thank the Lord for that. And he's skilled me, giving me passions and desires in my heart to be whatever it is.
yeah.
And it's funny because I feel like a lot of Christians I've talked to are like, well, that's just me. And it's like, whoa. I remember God convicted me once. Like, God, why do I want to thrive in leading people in business? Like, what is this? Is this like me? And God's like, whoa, big guy. Like, I put those desires in your heart.
That's so good.
I'm constantly having asked this question to myself: why do you do this? Why are you doing this? And I think that's a good question for us to keep asking ourselves. Why do we do it? Are we doing it so to make our name famous, his name famous? Why are we doing this? So it's it can be a trap, I guess.
Jonathan, have you ever found yourself at like a big turning point in life where you really had to seek God to figure out, okay, he's gifted me in these ways, and these are the ways that I feel his presence in my life, maybe the ways that he's wanted to use me, but I don't know what avenue that's going to be in this next season. And you had to seek him in that transition.
Yeah, I think there's been a few of those, right? Like in my where I've had to like come to that point of crisis, I would call it. Like, was a church planter, and that was a huge. I was like a musician, like when I had a lot of hair and was wearing spandex leopard pants, touring. I was a musician, and I had to die to that identity, and then I was a youth pastor, and I had to die to that identity. I was a worship leader. I had to die to that identity, and like there are many identities I've had to die to and have to come back to, like God. I am your child. I'm who you say that I am. These are okay, but they're like not my true identity. And so then it's hard, like those transition points, especially for me being a church planter. I planted 3 churches and then moving on to like, okay, I guess I'm going to be an author now and write a book and all that. That was a hard decision for me, because I felt like I was like letting people down, that were in my church. They were disappointed with me and all that. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff where you just got to come back to who am I in you? And
Sure.
I don't know. That's probably not what you're looking for, Jess, but
No, that's great.
So,
Well, and that's why we say start with belief, right?
yeah.
Who you believe in, what you believe, it all comes back to identity. And so if you actually believe in God, your life does change usually from where we're currently at. So I love that.
And I think, like mission wise, we're always looking for God. What am I supposed to do next? So I think that's a fair question. But my experience has always been like, love God and love neighbor, and God opens up what that next thing is for you. For me, it was comedy. I didn't plan to step into this. It's weird for some who's I'm 60 now, but when I was 57 was the first time I ever did stand up. It's a weird age to kind of like jump into something new, right?
Something new, sure.
Like that's just idiotic, really. It's not, doesn't make any sense. And
Yeah.
but like been people along the way that like pivotal people that have really encouraged me in this. And some of them have not been believers, which is really interesting. Like the first time I did 3 minutes at an open mic at a very rough comedy club in Harrisburg, PA. And I went up there and this professional comedian stops me afterwards and he says, "Hey, if that was your first time doing comedy, you have a career in this if you want it and if you want to work."
Wow.
And, like that's kind of lived in my brain ever since, you know? So like that's like, oh, there's something. And at the same show, even though I did 3 minutes, this young couple walks up to me and they said, "You're different. There's something different about you."
Interesting.
I'm like, oh, well, like hopefully that's Christ in me, the hope of glory.
That's good.
Like
I think it was a spandex.
it, spandex days have been long gone, my friend.
At least 2 weeks.
Well, and if I can just drop in, you know, the importance of if you're that person, right? The encouragement from those people meant so much to you. And so, you know, when we hear that little nudge of like, man, there's something different about that person. Speak that over them.
Right.
You know, that's what encouragement should look like, whether you know, whether you know they're a Christian or have no idea, or you know they're not a Christian. That's what encouragement is so important.
Absolutely. I think that's one of your gifts, Jess, from what I know of you, is that you're an encourager. Like I feel good when I'm around you, like in a good way, you know, like in a,
Thank you.
you help me move the ball forward a little bit too for
Wow.
Kingdom. So
Thank you. That's amazing.
Bummer. Just like bring, just kidding, Dan. You're great.
No,
Well,
I get it.
well,
That's why I
fine.
married her. I was like, I need someone
You
to
gotta
make up for
need
my
that
deficit.
balance. I get it.
Right. Well, Jonathan, as we wrap up this time together, is there anything that's just come to mind, you know, that you feel like, hey, our listeners, encouragement or advice as they seek to live out their faith every day?
Yeah, I guess I would say the only way we're going to be effective in the kingdom is if we have a strong relationship with Christ. Like,
Yeah.
love Jesus first in anything that you do. That always comes first. And if you look at like Acts 4:13, right? Like they saw, was it James and Peter, or I think it's James and Peter, and they had recognized, they noted that there was something different about these guys, even though they're unschooled and ordinary, they had been with Jesus. Hopefully that's the marker of our life. And we have this provocative faith in everything, whether we're, you know, like working at a shop or a mechanic or, you know, making widgets or speaking or whatever we do.
Yeah.
When we do it all for the glory of God and we have a relationship with him, it's a provocative faith. It provokes something from those that were around. That's the question. Why are you the ones you are? You know, so keep doing that with the most, you know, do everything for his glory, and then it'll work itself out. That's what I found.
I love that. Seek first the kingdom of heaven, right? Well, thank you, Jonathan, for coming on. Always enjoyable to talk with you. And thank you for bringing joy into so many people's lives.
Thanks, guys. I really appreciate this podcast. I'm a listener and a fan of you guys, so I really appreciate you guys.
So great. Thanks, Jonathan.
Thank you for listening to this conversation from the Everyday Faith Podcast. Our goal is to inspire everyday faith conversations. Please join us by rating and reviewing wherever you're listening, and most importantly, by sharing with a friend. For more resources like this, visit our website, askaboutmyfaith.com. God bless you as you live out your faith in your everyday rhythms of life.